What if a baby floated in a basket one day and grew up to live in a palace like a prince? Hi there! Welcome to Heroes of the Bible. What if a baby floated in a basket one day and grew up to live in a palace like a prince? He wore fine clothes, ate delicious food, and had everything he could ever want. But deep in his heart, something didn't feel right, because this boy Moses wasn't really Egyptian. He was an Israelite, and one day, everything changed. Moses grew up in Pharaoh's grand palace, shining with gold, filled with gardens, fountains, and servants. He learned to read and write, rode in chariots, and dined with the royal family. Everyone thought he was just another prince. But Moses remembered the story his sister Miriam had told him. How he came from the river, how he was born to an Israelite mother, how Pharaoh's daughter saved him. And when he looked out the palace windows, he saw his real people, the Israelites. They weren't living in palaces, they were slaves. One day, Moses walked outside the palace gates. The hot sun burned down on the land. He saw Israelites carrying heavy bricks, pulling ropes, wiping sweat from their faces. Mothers, fathers, even children were being forced to work hard. His heart hurt. "These are my people," he whispered. "Why are they treated like this?" Then, he saw something awful. A guard was shouting and hitting an Israelite man who had fallen down. Moses froze. His hands turned into fists. He couldn't just watch. He ran over to stop the guard. "Stop!" he shouted. There was a struggle, and suddenly the guard fell to the ground. He wasn't moving. Moses stepped back, eyes wide. What have I done? The next day, the palace was buzzing. People were whispering. Pharaoh had found out. He was furious. Moses must be punished, he roared. Moses didn't wait. He grabbed his things and ran, far away from Egypt, across the hot, dry desert. He ran until he came to a quiet land called Midian. In Midian, everything was different. There were no palaces, no chariots, no gold, just hills, wind, and sheep. Moses became a shepherd. He got married and made a new life in the hills. Every morning, he walked with his sheep. He watched the sun rise over the mountains. At night, he looked at the stars and wondered, "Is this where my story ends?" But God wasn't finished with Moses. Even though Moses had made a mistake, even though he felt far from everything he knew, God still had a big plan. In the quiet hills of Midian, something amazing was about to happen. Sometimes, we do things we regret. We get angry or make a mistake, just like Moses did. But that doesn't mean God gives up on us. God still loves us, and He can take even our mistakes and use them to do something wonderful. What would you do if you saw someone being treated unfairly? Talk to your parent or teacher about what it means to stand up for what's right, with kindness and love. And don't forget to join us for the next episode, because in the desert, Moses will meet someone very special, right in the middle of a burning bush.